All right, so anyone out there want to pick up English quick? Like just the bare bones stuff.
Essentials.
Yeah. We found this YouTube video.
Oh, yeah.
Called 33 Most Useful English Words for Beginners.
Okay.
It's basically like a cheat sheet.
Like a crash course, kind of.
Yeah. For anyone just starting out.
Right. Interesting.
And what's really cool is how they've like grouped these words.
Oh, yeah. I like categorization.
Yeah.
Keeps things tidy.
So it's like greetings to get you by everyday nouns and verbs.
So it's like they're building from the ground up.
Yeah. It's like a little survival pack.
Oh, that's interesting.
But for language.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive into this and see if they can really pull off this promise.
What price is that?
That you can have like basic conversations.
Oh, wow.
Just from these 33 words.
Okay.
So first up, we have the basics. Greetings. We're talking hello, goodbye, good morning.
Mm-hmm. The pleasantries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, you can't forget please and thank you.
Of course not.
You got to be polite.
Oh, yeah. It's funny how those are like universal. Like no matter what language.
It transcends language.
You've got a way to be polite, to acknowledge someone.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting.
It's more than just the words.
It really is.
You're establishing a connection.
A rapport.
Yeah. Like a thank you can go a long way.
Absolutely.
Anywhere in the world.
But then the video gets into what they call survival words.
Survival words.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Like imagine you're in a new place.
Okay.
You don't speak the language.
Right.
You need help.
Okay.
So think like, yes, no help.
Okay, basic.
Yeah. And even like, where is the bathroom?
Oh, yeah.
Essential.
Essential.
I remember being in this market in Morocco.
Oh, wow.
And it was so crowded.
Yeah.
I was completely lost.
Yeah.
And just knowing how to say, where is the bathroom?
Yeah.
In like their language.
Right.
Was a lifesaver.
Oh, yeah. I bet.
Oh, my gosh.
It's amazing how those like simple phrases can suddenly feel so crucial.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
But the video doesn't stop there.
No, they keep going.
They dive into common nouns like food, money, time. I mean, we use these all the time. Mm-hmm. But are they really the key?
That's what I was thinking.
To unlocking deeper conversations like they're suggesting?
Yeah, because I was thinking like, wouldn't it be more interesting to
like
start with verbs?
Oh.
Like to describe actions.
Okay.
Or even feelings,
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I think we should give them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
And see where they go with it.
Fair enough. Let's hear them out.
Okay.
All right.
So after nouns, they move on to verbs.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Eat, drink, go, come.
The action.
All the actions.
Yeah.
And what's really cool.
Yeah, what's that?
Is they emphasize using different tenses.
Ah.
Like went versus going.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
That's something a lot of beginners trip up on.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Because mastering those verb tenses lets you talk about the past, present, future.
Right.
Adds a whole new dimension to how you express yourself.
It's like time travel.
Yeah.
But language needs more than just actions.
Okay, what else does it mean?
Needs some flavor. Needs some
spice.
Yeah. So that's where adjectives come in.
Right.
According to the video.
Okay.
Words like good, bad, big, small, all those ways to describe things.
Right.
And inject some feeling into what you're saying.
Inject some emotion.
Yes.
It is fascinating how just one adjective can completely change the tone of a sentence.
I like that.
Good is fine.
Okay.
But saying something is fantastic or terrible.
Ooh.
Now those words.
Now we're talking.
They pack a punch.
Yeah.
And the video really encourages viewers to explore synonyms like that, to expand their vocabulary.
It's like they're saying.
What are they saying?
Like, don't just tell me it's bad.
Right?
Tell me how W bad.
Exactly.
Now I'm curious. What do you think about their choice of adjectives?
Okay.
Are those really the most essential ones to learn first?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
While those are certainly common, I wonder if prioritizing adjectives related to emotions might be more impactful.
Interesting.
Think about words like happy, sad, excited, scared.
Okay.
Those tap into a deeper level of communication, allowing you to express how you feel and connect with others on a more personal level.
Yeah, you're right. Those definitely seem more powerful than big or small.
Yeah.
You put it that way.
For sure.
Okay, so we've got nouns,
Got it.
verbs, adjectives. What's missing?
What is missing?
Questions.
The question mark.
Yes.
Okay.
They're the key to unlocking information.
Right.
And, like the video suggests having deeper conversations.
Okay.
What, where, when, why, how. Imagine trying to navigate a new city without those.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've been there.
Oh, yeah.
Not fun.
Yeah.
But it's more than just getting directions.
Right.
Those question words are the starting point for learning about anything, right?
Yeah.
It's how we satisfy our curiosity.
Totally.
Explore the world around us.
And just like with the other word categories,
Yeah.
these questions can lead to so many different conversations.
Oh, I bet.
Like just starting with where could lead you to discussions about travel.
Oh, yeah.
History, culture, who knows?
Right.
It's really exciting.
Very exciting.
But before we get too carried away,
Yeah.
let's take a little pause. And we'll come back for part 2 of this deep dive.
Sounds good. Welcome back. Ready to go a bit deeper with this idea.
Yeah. Are 33 words really enough for real conversations?
I mean, it's a big claim,
Right.
but
But they're thinking big.
Yeah.
So one thing they emphasize is like context.
context. Okay.
Like just taking the word good can mean so many different things.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It all depends on how you use it.
Right. Good could describe food,
Yeah,
a person's character,
exactly.
even the weather.
Yeah.
Like, it all
You
depends.
can't just memorize definitions.
Right. You got to understand how it works,
Yeah.
how the word functions
In a sentence.
in a real life situation.
Yeah. So that's where practice comes in.
Practice. Okay.
They talk about using these words in everyday conversations.
Right.
Maybe even doing like role play.
Oh, like little scenarios?
Yeah. To get comfortable.
I like that.
I actually did that when I was learning Spanish. I
Right.
felt so silly, but it really helped.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
When you use the words in context, you start to
Yeah.
internalize the nuances
Yeah.
and you build confidence.
We get that confidence.
And it doesn't always have to be formal practice either.
Oh, that's true.
They also mention listening for these words,
Okay.
like in real conversations,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
like movies or TV shows,
Okay.
like passive learning,
Right.
but you're still absorbing the language.
That's a good point.
Right.
Yeah, we're surrounded by opportunities to learn,
We are
even when we don't realize it.
all the time.
Speaking of noticing patterns,
Yeah.
I thought it was cool how they broke down the 33 words
Oh, yeah. How so?
into those categories.
Right.
Nouns, verbs, adjectives, and so on.
It's like they're giving you a framework
Yeah.
for understanding how language works.
It's like a little toolbox.
Oh, a linguistic toolkit?
Yeah.
You got your nouns to name things, verbs to describe actions,
Yeah.
adjectives to add detail. And then once you get how those pieces fit together,
Yeah.
you can start building more complex sentences.
It's pretty clever
It is.
when you think about it.
But they don't just leave you with a toolbox.
No, they give you some tips,
Okay.
like
Oh,
for practice.
Yeah.
Like using flashcards to test yourself,
oh, yeah.
speaking out loud
Uh-huh.
to get the pronunciation down.
Those multisensory approaches are helpful
Yeah.
for language learning. When you engage like multiple senses,
Yeah.
sight, sound, even touch,
Right.
it helps solidify the information.
Okay.
And for those who like a more hands-on approach,
Yeah.
they recommend keeping a journal.
A journal.
Yeah.
How does that work with 33 words?
Well, the idea is to like
Yeah.
try to incorporate those words into your entries.
Okay.
Even if it's just like a few sentences.
So you're tracking your progress,
Tracking your progress.
getting comfortable,
Getting comfortable using the words.
and making it more personal.
Making the learning process more personal.
That's actually a really good idea.
It is.
Yeah, you take the focus off of just memorizing,
Yeah.
and it becomes more creative.
Right. And I bet seeing yourself use those words correctly
Yeah.
day after day
Yeah,
would be a huge confidence booster.
absolutely. Confidence is key
It is.
for language learning.
It's not just about knowing the words.
Yeah.
It's about feeling comfortable using them.
Right.
And that confidence comes from practice, pushing yourself outside your comfort zone and
Yeah.
embracing those mistakes.
The mistakes along the way.
Oh, yeah. I used to get so flustered
Oh, yeah.
when I would mess up a word or a phrase,
Yeah.
but now I just laugh it off
That's good.
and keep trying.
It's all part of the process.
Yeah, it's all part of the learning curve.
Every mistake is a learning opportunity.
Right?
It helps you identify where you need to improve,
Yeah.
and it gives you a chance to try again.
Try again.
So don't be afraid to experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Make mistakes and have fun with it.
But before we get too carried away
Yeah.
with all this talk of practice and confidence,
Right.
let's take a quick break
Yeah.
and come back for the final part of our deep dive.
Okay, we're back and ready for the final part of our deep dive.
Right.
Into these 33 essential words.
It's amazing how much we've unpacked, even though it seems like a simple concept.
Yeah, when you first look at it, you're like, oh, 33 words.
Yeah.
But we've gone pretty deep.
Yeah. As the video points out, though, this is really just the starting point.
Yeah, it's like they've given us the basic tools.
A foundation.
Yeah. Now it's up to us to build something.
To build on that.
Yeah. And they give us some suggestions.
Oh, they do?
For continuing the journey.
Yeah, like what?
Like watching movies with subtitles.
Okay.
Listening to music.
Yeah.
Even reading books.
It's all about immersing yourself in the language, finding ways to make it a part of your daily life.
Yeah.
The more you expose yourself to English, the more natural it'll become.
That's true. I remember when I was learning Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
I started watching telenovelas.
Telenovelas.
With subtitles.
Yeah.
They were so cheesy, but
right.
really helped me kick up everyday phrases.
Right. And slang.
Yes.
And it highlights something the video touches on.
What's that?
The importance of like paying attention
Yeah.
to how these words are used in different situations.
So it's not just about knowing the definition.
Exactly. It's about how they're used.
Yeah. Yeah. How does good change when you're talking about food?
Right.
Versus someone's personality?
That's a good thought exercise.
Right.
It forces you to think beyond the basic definition. Consider the nuances of how a word can be used.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah, it's developing a deeper understanding.
Deeper understanding.
Of how language works.
Yeah. And speaking of nuances,
okay,
I was impressed by how the video encouraged viewers to think about the emotional weight behind certain words.
Oh, yeah, like happy and sad.
Yeah, not just happy and sad.
Yeah.
But all those shades of emotion.
Like delighted versus content?
Yeah, those convey different levels of happiness.
Right.
Exactly. And being able to express those subtle differences in feeling is a key part of effective communication.
Yeah, it lets you connect on a deeper level.
Don't just tell me you're happy.
Yeah.
Tell me what kind of happy you are.
Exactly. And that brings us back to what we talked about earlier.
What's that?
The power of language.
Oh, the power of language.
To connect us.
To connect.
To understand each other.
To build bridges.
Yes.
It is remarkable when you think about it.
It is.
These 33 words, seemingly so simple, can unlock a world of communication.
And connection.
I
think that's a beautiful way to wrap up.
I think so too.
This deep dive.
We've explored these essential words.
From every angle.
Yeah. And it's clear they're much more than just a list.
More than a YouTube video.
A starting point for a lifelong journey.
Ooh, I like that.
Of language learning.
And discovery. So now we want to leave you with a thought.
Oh, a thought to ponder.
Yes. What are some simple words
in your native language
that are surprisingly versatile
or essential for communication?
We encourage you to explore those hidden depths.
The magic within the most basic vocabulary.
Thanks for joining us on this linguistic adventure.
Until next time,
keep exploring.
The power of words. Okay, so you want to start thinking in English, right? Not just studying it, but actually thinking.
Like flipping a switch in your brain.
Exactly. And this video you send over, it's all about that.
It's about 20 minutes long.
Yeah, for intermediate and above learners.
People who are ready for that next level.
Okay, so the video jumps right into the benefits.
And I have to say, some of them surprised me.
Me too. I mean, obviously there's fluency, right?
Words just come out easier when you're not translating in your head.
But it goes deeper than that.
Way deeper.
Like the video argues that thinking in English actually improves your comprehension overall.
It's like you develop an intuition for the language.
Oh, that's good. Like you said, it really is like flipping a switch in your brain.
You're not just memorizing rules anymore.
You're actually feeling the language, the rhythm of it.
That's a great way to put it.
So how do we actually do this?
How do we flip that switch?
Well, the video has a bunch of practical tips.
The first one is surprisingly simple.
Almost too simple, I think.
Label everything.
Like everything.
Look around you right now.
Okay, I see a lamp, a chair, my computer.
And instead of thinking of those in your native language,
you think of them in English.
Lamp, chair, computer.
So basic,
but
this
works.
Our brains are wired for association, right?
So you're constantly linking the object
with the English word.
It strengthens that connection.
Makes it automatic.
Like building mental muscle memory.
Okay, that makes sense for objects, but what about thoughts?
More complex ideas?
That's where the inner monologue comes in, I guess.
Talking to yourself in English.
Ooh, that sounds a little...
Weird.
Yeah, a little weird.
It is at first.
Our native language is just so automatic, you know?
It's the default.
But the video says that the more we catch ourselves slipping back...
And consciously choose English?
The stronger that English brain gets.
Exactly.
So it's about being mindful.
Catching those thoughts as they pop up.
And reframing them in English.
The video gives some good examples.
Like what?
Imagine you're washing the dishes.
Okay, I do that a lot.
Instead of thinking, ugh, these plates are dirty, in your native language.
You could think, man, these plates need a good scrub in English.
Okay, I see.
You're narrating your life in English.
That's a cool way to think about it.
But what if you hit a word you don't know?
That happens to me all the time.
That's where a little creativity comes in.
Creativity.
Describe the word in English instead of switching back to your native language.
Oh, interesting.
So you don't know the word toaster.
Okay.
But you can think that thing that makes bread crispy.
So you stay in the English mindset.
Even when your vocabulary is limited.
That's really clever, actually.
It keeps the flow going.
So we've got labeling and inner monologue.
What else could there be?
Well, the video also talks about immersion.
Surrounding yourself with the language as much as possible.
Like reading English books.
Yes. And articles, websites, anything you enjoy.
Listening to English music?
Podcasts, movies, the news, anything.
Okay, but doesn't that feel like work?
It shouldn't. Even if we enjoy the content, it still takes effort.
That's why choosing something you genuinely like is so important.
So you're not just forcing yourself to study.
You're actually enjoying the experience.
Makes sense.
And you're absorbing the language naturally.
But what about different types of content?
What do you mean?
Like, is reading a novel better than scrolling through social media, for example?
That's a good point. While any exposure helps.
Engaging with more complex language is key.
Right. Reading a novel will expose you to richer vocabulary and grammar.
Than just skimming tweets.
Much richer.
So it's about quality over quantity.
Absolutely.
But even with good content, sometimes I feel like my brain just tunes out the English.
I know what you mean.
Like I'm reading the words, but they're not sinking in.
It happens.
So how do you prevent that?
The video suggests visualizing.
Visualizing? What do you mean?
As you read or listen, create a mental image of what the words mean.
Interesting.
It forces your brain to process the information more deeply.
Give me an example.
You read the word sparkling.
Sparkling.
You should picture a diamond glittering in the sunlight.
Ooh, I see. That makes it more vivid.
More memorable.
Okay, I like that tip.
So far, so good.
Yeah, but it feels like a lot, you know?
All these tips at once.
Labeling, inner monologue, immersion.
It's a lot to take in.
And to make it a daily habit, it feels overwhelming.
That's why the video says to start small.
Not try to do everything at once?
Right. Build up gradually.
So baby steps.
Pick a specific time of day.
Just 5 minutes, maybe?
And commit to thinking only in English during that time.
Could be first thing in the morning.
Or on your commute to work.
Or while you're cooking dinner.
Anytime that works for you.
Set a timer and go.
Exactly.
Once that feels comfortable, you can increase the time.
Slowly but surely.
Okay, starting small, I get it.
It's about creating a sustainable routine.
Something you can stick with.
But how do you track your progress?
Yeah, how do you know if it's actually working?
The next tip is all about that.
Okay, hit me with it.
Summarize your day in English.
Out loud or in writing?
Either one works.
So it's like a mini journal.
Sort of. You're reviewing the day's events.
But you're doing it all in English.
It helps you organize your thoughts.
And see how far you've come.
It also forces you to use the language actively.
Not just passively absorbing it.
You're actually producing it.
Okay, daily summaries. Got it.
Now, for a slightly bolder approach.
Oh boy, bolder.
Try thinking aloud.
Wait, what?
Talking to yourself in English?
Like full-on conversations.
Not necessarily full conversations,
but expressing your thoughts out loud.
Yes. It sounds strange.
It does.
But it's incredibly effective.
How so?
It creates a direct connection between thought and speech.
I've never thought about it like that.
In your native language, the words just flow, right?
Yeah, you don't have to think about it.
Thinking aloud in English helps build that same fluidity.
But in a safe space, of course.
Maybe not on a crowded bus.
Definitely not. But at home, when I'm alone. Okay, thinking aloud added to the list.
Now here's a key concept from the video.
Shoot.
We often learn languages by focusing on individual words.
Vocabulary lists, grammar rules, that kind of thing.
But thinking in English is about thinking in phrases.
Phrases.
Chunks of language.
So not just I want coffee.
But I'll have a coffee, please.
That makes sense.
It's more natural.
More fluent.
You're not translating word by word.
You're thinking in complete units of meaning.
Exactly.
But how do you train your brain to do that?
You already do it in your native language.
Really?
Think about everyday expressions.
Like, good morning.
Yes. Or, what are your plans for the weekend?
Instead of thinking plan and weekend separately.
You think of the whole phrase as one unit.
Oh, that's interesting. Like creating mental shortcuts.
Shortcuts for common expressions.
Makes things much smoother.
Now, what about mistakes?
Don't get me started on mistakes.
Everyone makes them.
It's so frustrating, though.
The video says to embrace them.
Embrace them.
They're part of the process.
Easy to say when you're already fluent.
But it's true. Mistakes are how we learn.
I know. It's just hard sometimes.
Each mistake is an opportunity.
An opportunity for what?
To refine your understanding.
To learn something new.
To get better.
Okay. I'll try to see it that way.
Good.
But what about real-life conversations?
How do you use all these tips when you're actually talking to someone?
That's what I'm wondering.
The video gives some examples.
Like what?
Your morning routine, commuting to work, ordering coffee.
Oh, I need help with all of those.
It shows you how to think in English in those situations.
So we can actually apply these tips in practice.
That's the goal.
Sounds good to me.
Shall we dive into those examples?
Absolutely. But first, I think we need a quick break.
Sounds good.
All right, so break time's over. Back to those real-life scenarios.
Where thinking in English really makes a difference.
Let's start with the morning routine.
Okay, you wake up.
Hit the snooze button, maybe.
But instead of thinking 5 more minutes in your native language,
you think, I'm so tired, but I gotta get up in English.
Even those first groggy thoughts,
they become practice. I like it.
Now, how about something more challenging?
Ooh, like what?
Ordering coffee.
Oh, yeah. That's always stressful.
Even in my native language.
Seriously. But if you're thinking in English already,
you're one step ahead.
You're not just staring at the menu, panicking.
You're thinking, okay, what am I in the mood for?
Iced coffee, latte, maybe something sweet.
You're preparing for the interaction.
It's like a pep talk in English.
And you can use those chunks we talked about.
Oh, right. The phrasing.
Instead of trying to remember each word separately.
You think, I'll have a caramel latte, please?
All is one unit.
My brain is starting to hurt just thinking about all this.
It's a lot to process.
But I'm seeing the bigger picture now.
It's about more than just vocabulary and grammar.
It's a whole different way of thinking.
A new mindset.
Okay, so we got to start small, right?
One step at a time.
But how do we know if it's working?
What are some signs that our English brain is getting stronger?
Good question.
Well, do you find yourself translating less?
That would be a good sign.
What about your fluency in conversations?
Has it improved?
Do the words come more naturally?
I guess I'd have to pay attention to that.
And your listening comprehension?
Connected too?
Absolutely. When you're thinking in English,
it's easier to understand spoken English.
Your brain is already in that mode.
Wow, this is pretty amazing stuff.
It's changing your relationship with the language.
Not just improving specific skills,
but transforming how you interact with English overall.
Oh, okay, but let's be real. This takes time, right?
It's a journey.
Not a quick fix.
The video makes that very clear.
There's no magic bullet.
It's consistent effort and practice.
What about those moments when you just feel stuck?
We all hit those walls.
Like you're not making progress.
That's where low pressure practice comes in.
Oh yeah, we talked about that before.
Finding a language exchange partner.
Or recording yourself speaking.
Why are those so important?
Yeah, why not just jump into challenging conversations right away?
Because it's about creating a safe space.
To experiment, make mistakes.
Without feeling judged.
So you can build confidence.
Before you tackle those tougher situations.
I see. So it's like training wheels for your English brain.
Exactly. But finding a good language partner can be tricky.
Any advice on that?
Look for someone with similar goals and proficiency level.
So you can learn together.
And support each other.
There are websites and apps for that, right?
Tons of them.
What about recording yourself speaking?
That's a great way to practice too.
I'm always so awkward when I hear my own voice.
It's normal to feel self-conscious.
Any tips for making it less scary?
Start with a familiar topic.
Something you're comfortable talking about.
Don't worry about being perfect.
Just focus on speaking naturally.
And then listen back and see how you did.
Identify areas for improvement.
It's a valuable learning tool.
Plus, you get used to hearing yourself speak English.
Which can boost your confidence.
Okay, this is all making sense.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
From labeling our surroundings to recording ourselves speaking.
But there's one final message in the video.
A takeaway for our listeners.
A reminder that small steps lead to big results.
So even if it feels overwhelming,
just focus on one thing at a time.
and be patient with yourself.
Consistency is key.
Don't expect to be fluent overnight,
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
but the more you practice,
The easier it will become.
until it becomes second nature.
Like flipping a switch in your brain.
We've come full circle.
So, are you ready for that final question?
Hit me with it. So what's the one thing our listeners should focus on this week? If they could only pick one strategy, what would it be?
That's tough. They're all so helpful.
I know, right? But if you had to choose,
Just one. I'd say start with the inner monologue.
really, inner monologue,
Yeah, it's like the foundation.
the basis for everything else.
Exactly. It's training your brain to think in English automatically.
Even before you open your mouth.
You're building that habit.
Okay, so listener, your challenge this week,
Pay attention to your thoughts
catch yourself thinking in your native language.
and make that switch to English.
See how it feels.
Does it get easier?
Do you notice a difference?
Let us know.
And remember, don't get discouraged.
It takes time.
Be patient.
Celebrate the small wins.
Keep that English voice going in your head.
You got this.
This has been amazing. So many great tips.
It's all about changing your mindset.
Seeing English as more than just a subject to study.
It's a language to live in,
To think in, to dream in,
to experience the world in.
and this deep dive.
It's just the beginning.
So keep practicing, keep exploring.
And most importantly, keep thinking in English.
Until next time.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I will show you how to think in English in today's lesson. If you've been studying English for a while but still find yourself translating from your native language into English in your head, this video is definitely for you. Learning to think in English can make you more confident, help you speak more fluently, and increase your understanding of everyday English. We'll talk about simple, practical tips you can use right away to switch your thinking from your native language to English. Let's get started. First of all, you might wonder, why do I need to think in English? Can't I learn vocabulary and grammar and practice speaking? The answer is yes, you can learn those things, but if you keep translating in your head, you'll slow down your fluency. You might also get stuck on words that don't have an exact translation in English. Thinking in English helps you. 1. Improve fluency. When your thoughts are already in English, the words come out faster and more naturally when you speak. 2. Boost confidence. You'll be more confident in conversations if you don't have to pause to translate. 3. Develop an English brain. Over time, using English for your internal thoughts strengthens your overall comprehension and language intuition. Think of it like switching your phone's language setting to English. You gradually adapt and start recognizing patterns without having to go back to your original language. Let's dive into the strategies that can help you get there. One of the simplest ways to start thinking in English is to label the objects around you. Let me show you an example. Here, I have a cup, a pen, and a notebook. Instead of saying these words in your native language, I want you to practice calling them by their English names. Cup, pen, notebook. As you walk around your room, apartment, or house, try to mentally name everything in English. Door, window, television, chair, table, and so on. Do this even briefly when you look at them. Over time, this will become automatic, and you won't need to think of the object in your native language first. You'll just think cup or door. This is a tiny step, but a powerful one. The second tip is to create an inner monologue in English. That means talking to yourself in your head in English as much as possible. For example, when you wake up in the morning, think, I need to get out of bed. Then I'll make breakfast, maybe some scrambled eggs and toast. Then I'll check my emails before I start work. Instead of using your native language to plan out your day, do it in English. You can do this while you're cooking, doing chores, or commuting. If you're washing dishes, say to yourself, I'm washing the dishes. The water is hot. I'm using dish soap. I need to clean the plates and the cups. It may feel funny at first, but over time, you'll get used to it and it'll start to flow more naturally. An extra tip, if you get stuck on a word you don't know, just describe it. For example, if you don't know how to say faucet, you could think, I'm turning on the thing that controls the water in the sink. This helps you train your brain to stay in English even if your vocabulary isn't perfect yet. The more input you have in English reading books, articles, social media posts, or listening to podcasts, music, and videos, the easier it will be to think in English. Make sure you choose topics you enjoy or find interesting. If you like sports, read an English sports blog. If you like cooking, watch cooking shows in English. When your brain is constantly exposed to English input, you'll start picking up new vocabulary and phrases that will naturally come to mind. The key is consistency. Try to dedicate at least 15-30 minutes every day to reading or listening in English. And as you read or listen, try to visualize the words in your head in English. If the idea of thinking in English all day feels overwhelming, start small. Pick a specific time of day, maybe for the first 5 minutes after you wake up, and commit to thinking in English during that time only. After you're comfortable, expand it to 10 minutes, then 15, and so on. For instance, if you brush your teeth at a.m. every day, decide, from 7 o'clock to 7:05, I will only think in English. Over time, you can gradually increase that period until you feel ready to handle longer sessions. This progressive approach helps you build a habit without too much pressure or frustration. A great evening or bedtime routine is to briefly summarize your day in English. Think about what you did, what you saw, how you felt, and describe it to yourself in English. For example, today was busy. I went to the grocery store and bought some fruits and vegetables. After that, I worked on my computer for a few hours. I felt a little stressed, but I took a break and went for a walk. Now, I'm tired, so I'll go to bed soon. If you want, you can speak this out loud or write it in a journal. Speaking or writing forces you to organize your thoughts in English, which is excellent practice for fluency. If you keep a daily English journal, you'll also see your progress over time, and that can be very motivating. If you're at home alone or in a private space, think out loud in English. Actually speak your thoughts instead of keeping them in your mind. This helps you connect the mental process of thinking with the physical process of speaking. Let's say you're deciding what to eat for lunch. You can say, what should I have for lunch? I have some chicken in the fridge. Maybe I can make grilled chicken with rice. That sounds healthy and delicious. This might feel silly, but it's a powerful way to push your brain to stay in English mode and practice your speaking skills simultaneously. When we learn a language, we often study individual words. But when you're trying to think in English, it's more natural to think in phrases or chunks. For example, instead of memorizing just the word morning, learn a common expression like, good morning, in the morning, every morning, I usually. If you focus on phrases like how are you doing or what's up, you'll be able to quickly recall them during real-life conversations or internal thoughts. Let's say you want to talk about your plans. Instead of memorizing plan and weekend separately, memorize an entire phrase, I'm planning to go out this weekend. That way, when you start thinking about your weekend, your brain will jump to that ready-to-use phrase. Remember, thinking in English is a skill, and like any skill, it takes time to develop. You're going to make mistakes. You'll forget words, mix up tenses, or occasionally slip back into your native language. That's completely normal. The important thing is to embrace those mistakes. If you notice you made an error, just correct yourself gently and move on. Don't spend too much time feeling embarrassed or frustrated. The more you practice, the better you'll get. A little patience goes a long way. Now let's see some practical examples of how you can think in English during everyday situations. Situation 1. Morning routine. Your thoughts in English. I'm so sleepy. Let me check the time. Oh, it's 7:30 a.m. I need to wake up now. Today, I have a meeting at 10 o'clock a.m., so I should make breakfast and then get dressed. Situation 2. Commuting to work or school. Your thoughts in English. I'm on the bus. It's quite crowded. I see a few empty seats at the back. Let me check my phone. I hope I'm not late today. Situation 3. Ordering coffee. Your thoughts in English. Do I want a latte or an Americano? I'm really craving something sweet. Maybe a caramel latte. Let's do that. Situation 4. Grocery shopping. Your thoughts in English. I need tomatoes, lettuce, and onions for the salad. What else do I need? Maybe some milk and eggs for breakfast tomorrow. Teacher smiling. By using English in these everyday scenarios, even if it's just in your mind, you'll speed up your learning. If possible, find an online language exchange partner or friend who speaks English. The goal isn't just formal lessons, it's to have casual chats about everyday life. The more you talk about everyday topics, the more naturally you'll start thinking in English. You can also try recording voice notes or short videos of yourself speaking your thoughts. Review them to see how you can improve your vocabulary and sentence structure. This is a great low-pressure way to reinforce thinking and speaking in English. Let's do a quick recap of the tips we covered today. 1. Label your surroundings. Practice naming objects in English around you. 2. Develop an inner monologue. Think about daily tasks in English. Narrate your activities. 3. Read and listen in English daily. Immerse yourself in English content. 4. Start small and build up. Use short time blocks to train your brain to stay in English. 5. Summarize your day. Reflect on what happened. Write or speak out loud in English. 6. Use thinking aloud in private spaces. Verbalize your thoughts when you're alone. 7. Focus on phrases, not just words. Memorize chunks of language for quick retrieval. 8. Embrace mistakes and be patient. Learning takes time, so be kind to yourself. 9. Practical scenarios. Try thinking in English in real-life situations like commuting or shopping. 10. Engage in low-pressure speaking practice. Chat with friends or record yourself in English. Remember, small steps every day lead to big progress over time. The more often you practice thinking in English, the more comfortable and natural it will become. Thank you so much for joining me in today's lesson on how to think in English. I hope these tips and examples help you take your English skills to the next level. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, share it with your friends who are also learning English, and don't forget to subscribe for more lessons. In the comments below, let me know which tip you're going to try first, or if you have any other strategies for thinking in English that have worked for you. Keep practicing, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.